Hey YouTube, it's Tams, the Wicked Witch. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So thank you to all my new subscribers and hello to all of you, and I hope you're all really well. I have just made a 5-minute witchy tips video on how to use an amethyst crystal in your magics, in your witchy life or your everyday life, whatever. And I did say that I was going to make an amethyst anxiety healing oil straight after. So I'm going to put the two out together. Separate videos obviously, but put the two out together today, and hopefully this will be useful to you. So if you are somebody who suffers from anxiety, this will really help you. It's an oil for you. You can use it for other people obviously can use it, but this is for us, you know. As witches, we do keep doing things for other people, and sometimes we forget about us. So this is really nice to use for yourself. If you're stressed, if you're getting anxiety, it's great. Also, if you've got any pain, now please, if you've got pains or arthritis or anything like that, or hip or joint problems, or, you know, please seek medical advice. I'm not a doctor, I'm just explaining to you that this is really good, and it really works. But obviously I'm not telling you not to go and see the GP or the doctor or the hospital or whatever, because obviously please do if you have issues. But this is really good if you've got arthritis, or you've got carpal tunnel in your you know, in your arms, any wrist problems in your hands, sorry, any wrist problems, joint problems, bad knees, bad hip. This is really, really good. And obviously it's amethyst healing oil, but I am using it for anxiety, and I have a couple of little ingredients that I add. I've got two different versions. We'll make one, I'll tell you the other. You can do either, whatever suits you, and if you want to put some other stuff in it, you can do. So this jar has been smudged. Please make sure you smudge a jar. I prefer to use glass than plastic if you can. And obviously you want to have something with a screw lid, because we need to keep it in there and use it. If you've got a proper little squeezy, not squeezy, if you've got a proper little pipette jar, that would be fantastic. I don't have one, so we're just using a jar from the kitchen that's been washed up, and we are going to, and it has been smudged already, you will need amethyst crystal chips. Now if you get Witch Casket, how many times have we had amethyst crystal chips in Witch Casket? I have about 4 or 5 pieces there, and I'm going to pop them into the jar like so, and they will sit in the bottom. I have British rapeseed oil, and that's the oil I'm going to use for this. Now you can, if you wish, use sunflower oil. You could use olive oil. Olive oil's a bit thick. Remember, you're going to be putting this on you. Almond oil's really good. There's loads of other oils you can use. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and that, it's a little bit thick, and you're going to have to put it on you. So it's up to you. Sunflower oil, I don't have any. You could use that if you wanted. Not so much vegetable oil for this, I don't feel. But if if you wanted to, that's up to you. So we're going to pour some of the oil into the bottom like this. I'm just going to do about an inch like that. I really like rapeseed oil. I think I had almond oil was really nice to use as well. And I used something else a little while ago, and that was really good. So now, okay, so we've got amethyst in the bottom, and we've got the rapeseed oil. Now, rosemary. This is dried rosemary from my garden. If you don't have any in your garden, you don't dry it yourself, you can buy it from shops. And I'm going to put a couple of handfuls or fingerfuls, a couple of pinches in there like that. So it looks like that. I'm going to swish it around. We've got a couple of ingredients, and I'm going to put my intent now into the jar. This jar is to remove anxiety and to help with any kind of healing of any sort, anything like that. So when we're putting in our intentions, we're putting our thoughts and our intentions of what this jar is going to do. And obviously I will do this a lot longer, but I can't do it on here because you know what my downloading situation's like. It won't download long videos. So obviously we are concentrating, sitting. I'll usually sit with my candles, holding the jar, putting my intentions in, and obviously that's what we'll do. So I am just going to do it quick because I have already got a few things in there. So let me just, I always draw a pentagram, my finger over the top of the jar, which basically you all know what a pentagram is, so we draw it over the top, and then we'll carry on. I'm going to put in some rose petals. These are dried rose petals, and I'm just going to put in a couple. Obviously, rose petals represent love. A little bit of self-love is needed for healing, especially when we're healing ourselves. So if you wanted to, you could put in a little bit of sage, but for this one I'm not going to. Okay, you could put sage in if you wanted. Excuse me, I've got cotton wool in my ears, I'm not picking them. You could put sage in if you wanted to. And something else that I really like doing is putting in a cinnamon stick, but because I just want to use this for anxiety, I'm not going to put the cinnamon stick in. If I was going to be using it for healing and for other, you know, for healing sort of like aches and pains and things like that, I would probably put in a cinnamon stick, and that would set in with the, obviously with the mixture. But I'm not doing that today because I am just going to be using this for myself. This is just like to top up my anxiety oil pot basically. So we've got the crystal chips in there, we've got the rapeseed cold pressed oil, we've got a couple of good fingerfuls of dried rosemary, and we've got some dried rose petals. Now if you wanted to sprinkle in a little bit of graveyard dirt, and I mean a little bit of graveyard dirt, if you're like me and you love working with graveyard dirt, and mine is just potent and I love it, you can do, just to give it that extra bit of oomph. I actually can't reach the graveyard dirt, and it means getting up and moving the camera, so I'm not going to do that now. But in my other one I do add a little pinch of graveyard dirt. You don't have to if you don't work with dirts, that's fine. And I don't mean a great big lot, just literally a little pinch in there. It just gives it that little bit of a kick. And yeah, that is it. So our intentions would go in again. You would be sitting, holding this, putting in the intentions to remove anxiety from yourself, or if you were using it on somebody else. And then basically you would put on the lid, and that's your oil. If you have one of those little pipette bottles that you could transfer this into, just make sure that one of those amethysts or stones goes in the bottom, because you need the amethyst in there. It's the amethyst stone that removes the negativity, as in the anxiety, from the person or from yourself. So even though the oil is obviously sitting there with all of this, if you transfer it over, remember just to add one of the stones into the new jar, and remember to sage it just in case it's got anything stuck in there that we don't want. So this can just be basically put here. It can be put here on the temples. It obviously, if you're using it for healing, you could rub it on the area that's, you know, that's causing you problems like arthritis or carpal tunnel syndrome in, you know, in your hands. If your wrists are playing, you've got arthritis in your fingers, back, whatever, knees, hips, just a little bit. You don't need to cover yourself in it, just a couple of little drops. If you wanted to drop a couple of little drops in the bath, that's absolutely fine, or even a spoonful in the bath. If you've got some rosemary floating around, we don't mind. If you want to have a couple of the crystals floating around, that's fine. Obviously, if you wanted to use, you know, you, as long as you make sure, if you transfer it over to a different jar, that make sure one or two of the amethyst stones, however much room you've got, goes with it. You need the amethyst. It's going to sit there for a while. If you was going to use it all quite quick, I'd say possibly if the stones won't fit, it'll be all right, but you really need the amethyst stones in there, because that's the whole point of it. It's the amethyst that is the healer. It's the remover of the negativity. And to be honest, having a little drop of this on your third eye area even helps you improve your psychic ability. But this is really good for anxiety. I hope it helps you with your anxiety and gets it under control. And yeah, that's all we can do really, isn't it? Try and look after ourselves as well as everybody else, because as witches we have this really bad habit of showing everybody what we do and helping and doing this and doing that, and we forget about ourselves. So yeah, I hope this little amethyst oil video was useful to you, and please let me know if you make it and how you get on with it, or if there's anything you want to ask, please put it down in the comments. I will write below what you need for this oil, and again, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all real soon. Take care of yourselves. Ta-da.